Here we go, guys. We are talking about one of the most important techniques to lock in. It can change your entire sparring game, and that is the switch kick. But even if you think you know how to properly execute this, I guarantee you, if you are a beginner, if you're an intermediate, there is so much that you're going to take away from this episode, which is just going to clean this up and allow you to start landing so frequently. Before we get to all that, big thank you to the sponsor of this episode, XMartial, for their fantastic gear that they provided me with. I have a link down below where you can save 10% using my promo code Gabriel Varga. Now, the switch kick. Let's talk first about a couple big mistakes that people make, which hinder their switch kick. Because whenever I do a private with somebody and they go, oh, okay, Gabriel, I need some help on this lead leg switch kick. Every time I throw it, somebody catches it, I say, show me what you're doing. What are we working with here? And even if they have the most beautiful execution of the kick, a lot of times people do this. I don't know if you picked up on what I did there, but what I was doing incorrectly was taking this lead leg and lifting it off the floor. It's pumping up. Now, a lot of times people think, okay, maybe the more I lift, the more power I'm going to get by springing off the ground. But there's a difference in time of execution, a little bit faster when I slide my foot, and also so much harder to see coming. Right? This versus this, you're going to see this one so much more because it's actually rising up. So if you keep getting your kick caught, you need to go, why is that happening? Why am I telegraphing? Well, most likely it's that. So when you do your switch, bring those feet and slide them as opposed to lifting them up. The next common mistake that people make is with the shoulders. The shoulders, they think, okay, I'm switching my stance, therefore my shoulders should turn because I am landing in southpaw. We don't want that. It's going to slow down the overall kick because my shoulders have to come from here and then back to here. My shoulders will stay neutral. They will stay right where they were. Now as I skip, that's fine. They stay in position. I still have loads of space to whip through and execute after that fact. If you take those two little things there, that's it. If that's all you get from this episode, and we're going to have much more, but if that's all you get, you will clean up the speed of your kick, therefore making it much more likely to land. How do I know this stuff works? Well, obviously lots and lots of private lessons with people, but also watching people like Buakaw throughout the years going, well, how exactly does he do this? And then trying to clean up my own kick and realizing, oh, I'm landing so much more now that I'm doing these small things. So my feet don't rise up really high, especially the lead one, which is switching backwards, and my shoulders don't need to turn. Stay neutral, throw that kick. Now, we're not going to focus today on so much the actual kick technique. I have many tutorials on this channel on how to actually throw the kick, how to maximize the pivot, how the shoulders should twist, the landing surface, all that. But I'm assuming you already know how to throw the kick. You are focused on how to clean up the switch kick. So what we want to focus on now is what do we do once we get to here? How do we come out of the kick? And you might go, well, that's so obvious. But for many people, it's not. Now, I was just doing a lesson the other day with somebody, and we were doing the pad work, and the switch kick was coming. It was looking good. But then I had to point out, look at how you're finishing. And it was like this. And again, if you don't see the problem with this, you're going to learn something very important. I'm going from this range, right? A switch kick can be done out of punch range. I don't need to be in that threatening position. But once I finish, because I started in my orthodox stance and I kick and people think, okay, back to orthodox. Now I'm landing in punch range. Now that's great if I'm being the person who's wanting to follow up on the attack. But if I'm not the person who's wanting to follow up, I just want to land the switch kick and get back to safety, I do not want to voluntarily move into punch range, especially because one of the great counters to the switch kick is a cross block and then coming into my cross. Boom, boom. And if they fall forward, they just meet my counter. So you might think, what are the alternatives to that? Well, okay, I could kick step backwards, and then reset. Of course, that's something that Haggerty does. But for many people, and I've stressed this on the channel so often, you do not want to be in your southpaw stance unless your defense is as good as it is in your orthodox stance. And for most people, that's not the case. Most people, if their defense is a 10 out of 10 here, they switch, it's at least a 5 out of 10. It just downgrades so much. So if I happen to go, okay, I throw my kick, I step back, the guy rushes at me, I'm compromised here. So then I have to go, oh, I have to do a full switch and a step back before I'm back to my proper stance. And you can see the time this takes. It's not fast. And if this person is aggressive, they are going to be able to capitalize on that. So the best move by far that we see all the good Muay Thai fighters do is to be here, I throw my switch kick, I come back to parallel. Yes, parallel. And you might think parallel, we never do that. We never fight out of a parallel stance. And you'd be right, in general we don't. But this puts me back at the exact same range I was just at, which now gives me two options. Either step backwards with my strong leg, which will put me back to my proper stance. All right, look how clean that is. And I'm fast. I'm a lot faster than taking that full step back and then having to readjust again. It's just boom, da-dum. But when you think, how do we throw multiple round kicks? We don't do multiple round kicks with our foot from here going, uh-oh, uh-oh. And we also don't come from way back here because it's so very slow. We throw our first kick and then we come back to parallel. Boom. So coming down to that parallel stance gives me the option of following up with the same kick on repeat if this person is not blocking correctly and countering, or if they're not catching. So I can come here, go, oh, I'm ready for another one, and then come back to this proper transition in stance. Again, from here I can step back or double up. So if we take these small things which I just gave you today and we add them in, your kick, which probably is already quite nice. If you look at from here, boom, yeah, it's awesome. Boom, it's awesome. But now you clean up the beginning and you tidy up the end, all of a sudden your switch kick will be so much more dangerous. Just with the tiny little things I gave you today. What is this? 8-9 minute tutorial? Boom, cleaned up. So I hope this helped you a lot, and I hope you're gonna feel that switch kick just tidy up. We could go on and on about this. I say this a lot on the channel, but I'm very serious. We could do an hour, 2 hours talking about, okay, how do we set it up with the hands? Or what are great fakes we can use? Or how can we follow up after? Stuff like that. We could go and go and go. But the main thing is you've tidied up the beginning and you've cleaned up the end. Let's call it there, guys. Thanks for joining, and I will see you back here very soon.